YouTube, Facebook Reels, Instagram Reels, all those things are great ways to help you grow your business. I'm gonna talk on YouTube just because I have experience with YouTube, because we've had a YouTube channel for a little over 2 years now, and it's finally evolved to the point where it's actually beneficial to our business.
Fine.
Do you mean call-wise or money-wise?
Yeah, so I recently had to in our CRM, we track how every single customer hears about us, right? If you heard us through Facebook ads, we track that. If you found us on Google LSA, we track that. If you found us on Google, which is different than Google LSA, we track that.
Yeah.
Word of mouth, Facebook groups, all those things, right?
Is that through KPIs?
No, it's just in our CRM on CallSource.
Okay.
So anytime we build a new customer, there's a prompt where how did this customer hear about you? And we get to customize all the different prompts, and we pick it. So I had to add one for YouTube, because we're now having customers local here in Kansas City that find our YouTube channel and then call us for service.
Can I ask you about that? Is it people like in Blue Springs, or have they been out a little further?
All around the metro.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
So not just here in town.
They recognize we are in Kansas City.
Gotcha.
And so they call us because we're in Kansas City.
Good.
And our
Excellent.
YouTube channel isn't really branded to Blue Springs. It's branded to Kansas City.
That's why I asked.
Yeah. And so it was just a couple of weeks ago, we got about a $4,000 job specifically from the YouTube channel.
Nice.
And so I've now created a call source for YouTube. Because it's now a marketing initiative.
Do people go to your Smedley Plumbing YouTube channel from the podcast also, you think?
No, we keep the podcast and the YouTube channel separate. The Smedley Plumbing YouTube channel.
You telling me no one's ever listened to this and then went and watched Smedley Plumbing?
They could have.
Okay, where's my cut? That's my fucking
Well,
point.
you did reply to a comment as The Void, and then you came back as Smedley Plumbing and replied to
Yeah, because I've got two different logins.
Where's
and sometimes,
my cut?
Right.
Well, so if somebody's listening to The Void and then they go to the Smedley Plumbing YouTube channel, chances are they aren't local, is the thing. They may be a podcast listener and hear that I do YouTube and they want to check out YouTube, and so they're following it on YouTube, but there's no direct work from the business, right? So what this would be like this one here a couple of weeks ago.
Where's my cut?
Lady was, she paid a contractor to install a sump pump and gave him a down payment, and he basically took and ran with her money and never showed back up.
Ouch.
And so now she's like up shit creek without a paddle. So she's like going around on YouTube trying to figure out exactly how hard this is. Is this something her husband can do? She stumbled across a couple of our videos. She calls us and we go out and do this work. And ironically, we do this work free of charge for her because we were able to get the county to pay for it.
Oh, nice.
So, yeah, pretty cool.
Nice.
Like win-win all the way around.
Yeah,
Hey,
triple
you
win.
lost your money with this guy. However, we're going to do this work and not charge you a dime. The county's going to pay us for it, right? So there's a $4,000 job, approximately $4,000 that we got specifically from our
you
YouTube
had to bust
channel.
up floor and everything.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Yeah, we've got a couple of those jobs under our belt that way, right?
Nice.
And so we've now made a call source for it, and we're able to track leads from YouTube. Other things that can happen with YouTube videos. So I want to start this whole conversation by saying Google owns YouTube. And I don't mean like they own it like in a dominant sense. I mean physically. Google is the...
I don't think anyone thought of it that way.
Well, I'm just saying, like, the word owned is like thrown around.
Yeah.
You know, Conor McGregor owned that guy.
Yeah.
That doesn't mean that guy's Conor's slave.
Man, yeah, I own Mitch Smedley.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Yeah. So, I mean, Google physically owns YouTube, right? Yeah. And so because of
They're
that,
sisters.
There's a lot of data sharing. And if you get
100% data sharing.
Yeah. If you perform well on YouTube, it helps your Google business performance as well, right? And so, as long as Google's not playing games, it works really, really well. This last month, we've been dealing with Google playing games with us, and it's really fucking annoying, and I'm excited for Google to pull their head out of their ass.
Are we going to talk about that? Or,
Maybe later.
Let's just go on.
That might be another topic.
It's another thing for another day. Just keep going.
But basically, Google doesn't know how to do math. So anyway, just saying, we went from 952 reviews to 915.
Let it go, dog. Let it go.
So,
let it go.
Anyway.
Another day. Man, he gets to get red too. Did you see him? Fucking goddamn Google motherfucker.
Got me hot under the collar.
When his neck gets red, that's when you know he's really.
Well, his neck gets red first, and then his forehead, and then his cheeks.
Other things get red too, but this is a child-friendly show, and so we're not going to talk about that.
I'm tan enough; you can't tell it's red.
Anyway, so because
and
Google owns YouTube,
this is not a child-friendly show. Just
if you get a video that performs well on YouTube, Google also appreciates that. And so we maximize and leverage this every way we can. We maximize it directly with YouTube and get that to perform as best we can. We maximize our Google and get that to perform the best we can. We also share these videos. We force the interaction, and we share these videos on our website, which is found on Google, right? And we get Google to recognize these videos are shared on our website, and we own the YouTube channel and we own the website, and everything blends and meshes together. And so essentially we use YouTube for one, a small revenue source. And I say small because we've done YouTube for 2.5 years, and we're just now to the point where YouTube's bringing us in anywhere from like $1,400 to $1,700 a month.
You have not made any money on YouTube.
We have not made money on YouTube.
No.
Our long-term play on YouTube is to do enough revenue on YouTube that it offsets our advertising budget. So if I can get the YouTube revenue up to our advertising budget, well, then that basically makes me free advertising.
Yeah.
Right. It's a long-term play.
Yeah. If you were on that, we just talked about long-term
plays
on the last show.
Yeah. Right.
But like, even if it got to the point where it was, say tomorrow, it hit your advertising budget, you still have 1.5 or 2.5 years to recoup.
Right.
So even best case scenario, we did that tomorrow.
Right.
You're still 3 years in.
Yeah.
Or I'm sorry, 5 years in before it would break even.
Yeah. Now,
unless it went above that, of course.
Here's I want to take a step back and talk about the types of videos that we do on YouTube. So we've done some entertainment videos. We used to do some videos with Ford before Ford went kind of dumb on us.
Yeah.
And we never really talked about this on the show.
Yeah,
but
we did. We talked about it. Yeah.
Okay. So
yeah. We talked about Pfizer.
Yeah, Ford was looking at sponsoring the plumbing company. Ford has a sister company that was a software company that was looking at sponsoring this show. And then Ford directly was looking at sponsoring our plumbing company because we have an all Ford fleet. And so it would be like, for me, it would have been like a trifecta, the YouTube channel, the plumbing company, and the podcast. For Dave, it would have been, I guess it would have been like a quadfecta because they were also looking at sponsoring Tradewinds. For David, it would have been like twofold, right? The podcast and Tradewinds.
Yeah.
And then Ford ended up,
and their software was like Field Pulse.
Their software was similar to Field Pulse,
something like that. Yeah.
Their software was incredibly inferior. I will say that. And,
it was.
And I'm not bashing them.
It was garbage. I'll bash them.
They were in their infancy. Yeah. Is what it was. Their software was pretty good for how infant they were. However, it paled in comparison to the other softwares out there. They were just new.
Even Jobber.
Yeah.
Like Jobber made it look bad.
Yeah.
Like, and the more I got to thinking about that, just kind of to wrap that up, like they were leaning on Mitch so hard because they had no one to guide that shit.
Yes.
Like looking back at it, that's what their play really was.
Yeah.
And
in their initial offer, they had me having a seat on their product development team.
Yeah, because they, let's be honest, had no fucking clue what they were doing and then tried to dictate to us. I mean, we don't like you guys. You got faith stuff that doesn't follow our agenda.
Yeah, so
fuck off. Now they're bankrupt.
So
fuck them.
They sent us over a rough draft of a contract
Caitlin
that would
left
have
and
been
the fucks flew.
Yeah. This contract would have evolved into something huge, and meanwhile, like we've been talking with them for like 6 months. They had never once listened to an episode of our podcast, and they asked me, "Why can't I find your podcast on your website?" And I said, because we keep it separate, because we get a little divisive on the podcast. We get a little political on the podcast, and I don't want to polarize our plumbing customer base, right?
Yeah.
And they never once listened. And then finally, the day after they send over their initial rough draft of like, here's what a contract could look like, they listen to the podcast that night. They call me the next day and they're like,
Dave's a jack off.
They were like, we'd love to continue this, but your co-host. And I'm like, all right, so it's off the table. And they're like, well, it's just your co-host. And I'm like, It doesn't matter. It's not like
Mitch had my back.
Yeah,
Mitch had my back.
You're not gonna drive a wedge between David and I.
Yeah.
Like I don't care.
Yeah.
So,
like, and the thing is,
that's corporate America. That's not the,
of course.
The messenger. There's a guy, Dave Saunders. He's a great guy. Like,
he's
an amazing guy.
I emailed him some really good emails.
He's a great guy. He's just the messenger for the big corporate machine.
Douchebags.
Yeah.
You mean corporate douchebags.
And so, like, he's put in a funny spot because he's having to say we when it's not really him.
It's one or two
It's the people
idiots.
above him, right? So it's just, that's what happens when you're dealing with corporate.